life of an entrepreneur is one that is very unpredictable. It is brought with challenges and triumphs on the day to day. But when you've dedicated yourself to transforming the everyday mundane into moments of beauty, that is when magic happens. Today, we're joined by an inspiring South African woman who's done just that. She's founded Spases Homeware, by creating a brand, functional art that's used for the home. I'm your host, Tando Mazibugo, and this is, in her words, Working Conversations by a Woman. Germaine, welcome to In Her Words, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I love the way you said that because it's exactly like how I feel about the products that I create. It's exactly that.
Your products are very beautiful. Can you just tell us how your journey of founding Spases started?
So it's a long story. Yeah. I always grown up loving interiors. I love fashion. I love being creative. I think more towards the interior space. I was that kid that I would rearrange my bedroom for every 5 minutes. I would rearrange it. I used to love being involved in that part of things at home. And as one does, when you obviously start studying, I went into a marketing degree. I had no idea of how to marry the business and the creative part of what I wanted to pursue at the time. And yeah, I ended up in my most recent job, which was probably like 5 years ago, was in the pharma industry. And it was a sales environment. So very different. But Spaces has always been in the background. I started my domain in like 2008. I used to blog when blogs were cool. I used to love writing. And back then it was writing about styling, all things decor, trends. I dabbled a bit in styling, so lots of friends and family. And then I even started dabbling in furniture design, which didn't work. But I did quite a bit on the side next to my 9-to-5 job. So Spaces has always been in the background. And at the time, I just didn't know what it looked like, whether it was a job or a business. At the time, I wasn't sure what that would look like for me. So I think this was probably like 2016. I was looking for scatters for my house and I came across this mudcloth textile. And at the obviously done all these other things. I've even gone into furniture design and none of that sort of spoke to me and it didn't work for me. Found some mudcloth. I was about to order it from an Etsy store and it was coming all the way from, I think, the States at the time. And when I obviously did a bit of research, because I loved the fabric, I loved what it looked like, I loved the texture, I loved that it was like, I loved minimal design, I loved how minimal it was. And then up until like further research, I realized that it's actually an African textile. And for me, I was like, there was absolutely no way I'm ordering this product all the way from the States that originates from here. Surely I should be able to find it in South Africa. And for the life of me, I could not find a end-user consumable product for my home. So I did some more research, and this was probably like 2015. So before, like Instagram wasn't what it was. It was a lot of Googling, phoning. Eventually, I found a supplier that would sell me, I think it was 2 or 3 pieces of mudcloth at the time. And when I saw the fabric, I was like, this needs to be, like, everyone needs to know about this. It needs to be shared. It needs to be celebrated. We cannot be ordering from the States to South Africa or Africa. And that's how the idea, obviously, I didn't go out there looking for, let me start a store. It should have just happened, as in this was the opportunity. That's sort of the journey.
That's an amazing journey that you looking for something just sparked this, business of yours. And for those who don't know, I touched on it being a functional art for the home. That's what Spaces is. What would you describe it as for those who don't know Spaces?
Spaces started because I felt that Africa and South Africa, when it comes to design and textiles, I feel like we were not celebrated. The fact that I could not find this product in South Africa, for me, was like the aha moment. And I really feel that, like, I think as Africans in its totality, we're always looking towards the West for inspiration. I used to love Danish design. I love Swedish design. I love how minimal it was. And when I found this fabric, I was like, okay, well, this is also beautiful and textural and minimal. And I felt, so I think the core of Spaces exists because I really want to put a spotlight on the stuff that we create, or the textiles that we create locally, and to sort of gain that inspiration like within ourselves, instead of looking towards all of these Western countries for trends that we have to follow. So when I started importing these beautiful textiles, I started off with Mali. Eventually it sort of laddered up to importing from Senegal, from the Ivory Coast. And I was just exploring with different fabrics and making the products, which is our scatter cushions here locally in South Africa. And it was I found it so interesting to have these conversations with agents that are going all over Africa and exploring all these territories. And I love that all of the textiles that is produced has heritage. There's always, the homeware always has a story to tell. And for me, that was the most important thing, was that these products are celebrated, that once they're in your home, there's a history and there's a heritage and there's a story. I love the consideration. So Spaces has always created products that has that care and consideration and intention when we develop products in the store for the home. Yeah.
That's amazing. You speak about getting textiles from different African countries. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced, with Spaces, and as well as trading or trying to get, a lot of African products or African inspiration within the design of Spaces?
So when I started out, I was getting fabric in from a wholesaler that was local to South Africa. And working and started networking within the industry, and I got to know this agent that is more dialed into the people that he visits within these countries. So that's always been a big hurdle, I would say, when it comes to getting all of these textiles into South Africa, is that a lot of these villages, especially in a country like Mali, that's so what is the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of tension happening. It takes quite a bit of time for product or for textile to leave an artisan that has made a piece of fabric to get it to the border. So there's quite a bit of, it's not as easy to get the products out of their country and get them seen by the rest of the world. So more often than not, when I am dealing with an agent that would get fabric from Mali, it probably happens 2 or 3 times a year, purely because of how difficult it is just for these people to basically create an income for their family by these traditional textiles. So, I mean, a dream of mine has always been to visit these countries. It's very hard to get into Mali and to actually speak to people and create impact that way. But yeah, that's probably one of the most difficult when it comes to textiles, especially in fabric in Africa.
You touch on impact a bit, and I see that impact is very important to you. Can you share a story about how, what sort of impact that Spaces or you has created for, your clients, the community?
So I think from the get-go, what's been important to me, because it's, I did say at the beginning about textiles being celebrated in Africa. And for me, I really want to work with people of color. That's very important to me. And off the bat, I have always worked with seamstresses and CMTs that are, for some reason, it's always just happened this way, that they are women-founded. It's an all-woman team, and it's always a black or brown team. And I love that. I love to celebrate that. And that's probably been the most impact as a small business pushing into the local economy has made here. And that's something that has always been like part of the core pillars of the brand.
I love that. As we all know, work with women, you feed a whole community. Technology evolving. How have Spaces utilized that to stay on trend and ensure that you see what new trends are within the homeware space?
Okay, so I think as far as technology and trends are concerned, as personally, I am very into interiors and I'm very into architecture. Like homeware has always been a thing that I've been interested in. So in terms of incorporating trends within the brand, as much as I am a trendy girl, I love pieces that are timeless and classic. So when it comes to incorporating trends into the brand, it will probably be in ways of looking at textures, at colors, and at shapes. So the brand will sort of, when it comes to a limited release of something, look at incorporating trends that way rather than incorporating a complete trend. So it will always lean towards the trend, but elements of that we would sort of incorporate within the products. And because we do create in small batches, a lot of the trendier items would be a limited edition item, for example, that our customers love, a sense of getting a one-off or something that's been created especially for a limited time. And that's sort of how I view trends when it comes to homeware specifically. Yeah.
When you're a founder, you go through a lot and trying to find the right people to work with. What are the lessons of leadership that you wish you'd known earlier before starting Spaces and that you find invaluable now?
Okay, so I made some notes here because, one second. So I think when it comes to leadership and being a founder, you really have to have a strong vision. Like that for me is very important. And if your vision is strong and you have belief in your vision, when it comes to times where you have to be a little bit more resilient, you can see past the initial stumbling block, whatever that may be, as long as your vision is clear. I also do find and this is something that, I'm 5 years in and I feel like I'm still learning on the daily. Do find that as a founder, your self-work and your mental work and your mental state is so linked to how successful your business is. And it's so linked to your self-worth and your self-confidence, or basically what you think of yourself is exactly the mirror of what your business looks like. And that's something that I really had to learn. And I feel like as any leader, there is such a big amount of self-work that needs to happen in order for your business to grow and evolve and change with you. So that's been something that has been very important to me. And then there was something else as well. I think it was that. I think for me, especially, I think 23 and 24, I really looked at like what it is that I want from this business, because I think 2 or 3 years in, you become excited about, starting the business. You're doing all the exciting things. You're doing all the marketing things, which are always more exciting than the actual work. And eventually you sort of have to look at yourself and be like, okay, what is it that I want? And you can only know that through knowledge of self. And with knowledge of self becomes how your business changes and evolves and grows with you. Yeah.
That's so true. That is so true. Because if you're not okay, the business will not be okay.
Really, it's like literally that.
It really is. You are the pillar, and if your pillar is shaken, woo, everything else just goes down the drain.
Exactly that.
What's next for Spaces? What exciting projects are coming up that you can tell us about, that you're launching soon?
So last year we did quite a bit of like new products. We did collaboration with textile artists. We introduced a ceramic arm of the business. I've always wanted to dabble in ceramics. That's always been like a thing for me. So this year we will probably do very limited drops when it comes to creating products in the ceramics area. We want to refine quite a bit this year versus all of the products that we put out last year. So you can sort of be on the lookout for some more handmade ceramic items. And hopefully a new textile out of Africa as well.
I love your ceramics. That pink mug and that pink saucer, the oversized one, that's my favorite.
Oh, no, it's a favorite. Yes, definitely.
How do you envision the industry being a small business and you compete with big giants of in South Africa, Mr. Price Home, all the other homeware stores, and other independent homeware like Carol Wares and stuff like that? Where do you see the next 5 to 10 years of Spaces?
This is just so interestingly enough, last year was the whole, I don't know if you were, everyone was around for that, was the whole Temu and Shein were on a freaking rampage last year. It still is, but it's changed people's perception. So Spaces has always been the opposite of big corporate. We've whatever they're doing, we're doing the opposite of that. So, and I think what makes the brand different is the values. The values are different in that sustainability is a big part of the business. At the beginning, when I launched the business, there was quite a bit of, I want to say the biggest hurdle was cash flow, for example. And for me to get over that, or for me to grow with that, we did a made-to-order system when we started the brand. And I heavily leaned into the sustainability part of the business, meaning that we are buying we create, or textiles are created by artists that are creating in small batches. They're steeped in tradition and in heritage, and that's always been the storyline. So sustainability is something that we've always educated the customer about, in that whatever you are receiving is carefully made with consideration and with intention. Products are made because they are functional, or there is a need for the product. We're not just creating products for the sake of creating products. So I think the biggest pillars has been, what makes us different would be the sustainability part. Homeware that tells a story within the home, and then creating product with. So I feel like when the likes of, when we get compared to big corporates, that's always been the discerning difference, is that we are not a company or business that produces en masse. And because of that, the product purchasing are considered, and they have intention behind them. So that's been, I think, the biggest difference between Spaces versus the likes of the Mr. Price homes.
And it's just better for the environment.
Yes, I have that. Yes, I do not. Yeah, I don't participate in the Sheins and the Temus of the world.
You shouldn't, as this founder. If you could just dream big with no limitations, no cash flows in mind, and everything that is a hurdle, where do you see Spaces' future being?
I would love a store in London. Like, that's my dream. Like, I want an in real life experience for the brand. That has always been, for me, expanding internationally and globally has always been the dream. And then also within South Africa, I mean, I would love to do in real life experiences where people can feel the brand, because a lot of the time customers do want to feel and touch and see the product before purchasing. That's always been something that I've dreamt of.
We're manifesting pop-ups in all over the country and all over the world for you, for Spaces. That's what we're manifesting right now. So looking back on your journey, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self? Me, younger Germaine, what would you say to her today?
To be kind to yourself, dude. Like, just be kind to yourself. Be patient, and there's no race. And like, we are so bound to these societal expectations of where you should be in your career. I thought that I have it all figured out by the time I had my kid, for example. I thought I would know exactly what I'm doing. My business would be established, and it's just, yeah. I would say be kinder to yourself. Kinder to yourself.
That's so true. We all need to be kind to ourselves. Can you tell me what keeps you? I'm not going to say motivation, because motivation just, you end it. It's over. It's a passing phase. But what keeps you disciplined, rather, even in challenging times? Because sometimes you're just like, I don't feel like it. What?
So for me personally, I am if I don't have like my routine in place, I fall apart. I am that girl that I have to operate within a structure. So a morning routine is like very important to me. I'm a runner as well.
Yeah.
So running keeps me on the straight and narrow, and it clears my head, and it's more my therapy than the running. So for me, it's creating those morning and evening routines, as cliche as it sounds, but it's actually what keeps me focused. And then when I said earlier that I still believe, like, wholeheartedly, even when my sales are in the toilet, I still believe that what I'm offering the world is impact, and I believe in it. I believe in the product. I believe in the thought behind it. So I'll have my husband works with me closely sometimes, and he's my person where I'm like, I'm over the shop. Let's just close it. Close this website. I'm done. And I'll do that for, I don't know, half an hour. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Let's start again. Yes, I still believe in this. So you have those moments, and it's not like they go away. They're there all the time.
That's true. That's true. I had that moment with my podcast as well.
So, yeah, you sometimes just feel like, you know what, this isn't working. I'm trying everything.
Yeah. What book or podcast or anything, any resource that you find significant that influenced your thinking as an entrepreneur?
Okay, so the podcast that I probably followed since like 2016 was a business podcast, especially for women. It was called, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called Second Life. Like, I love those stories. For me, as a person of, I don't know if this is, maybe just for me, I found that, a lot of people say, find a mentor in your space. Want to move in and grow in, find people that you aspire to be like, but that's not often like accessible. You don't often know that person. So for me, podcasting was like listening to those stories. So for me, Second Life was a podcast that I loved. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a book that I constantly read and read and read again. And yeah, podcasting was a resource. And then The Power of Now is probably the book that I can think of.
That's amazing. I'm going to check out the podcast. I haven't listened to that one.
Yeah, there was a few along the way, but that's probably like been the most where I'm like, I'll wait every week for an episode. And a lot of them were founder stories like this, where I'm just trying to be, relate to someone that is going through something similar. So, yeah.
If anyone is looking for you, where can they find you online? I will also add your links and everything in this episode.
Okay, great. So the shop Instagram is shop_spaces. TikTok is the same, and then the website is www.spases.net.
Thank you so much, Germaine, for spending time with us. We really appreciate the wisdom for women out there who are thinking about starting their own business, whatever they need, and just your time and knowledge.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
It's a pleasure. Bye.